birds opening. So then we gotta set up the board. Oh, what the frick? Is the Fromm's Gambit? Is he on cocaine? Excuse this, incredible. I don't know, maybe he's doing some Gambit. I don't freaking know. But if you play the birds opening in chess, you're stupid. Yeah, apparently they were just having issues, and I didn't know. It was my fault. Weird development. Some weird development. And I gotta flip the board so you know which one is what. Tonkadonka's on the top, of course. Or SBin4Pics, I don't care. I gotta fix this, actually. Right there. And now I think everything's good. I don't understand the development. Magically, according to the evaluation, oh my god. I can't speak. That's fine. And now magically, Chunkadonk, SBin4Pics is winning magically. Probably because it blocks development of the bishop, which you don't want to do. Develops a knight. Textbook move. My SBin4Pics. As CatFlank, gotta develop my knight. Gotta develop the knight. It's an important thing. Alright. It's come a while to make that move. Not like that move. That move, hangs a knight. See, it's not recommended. It's personally, I just don't think hanging knights is a really good option in chess. Just because it loses you material. But I'm not a scientist, so I could be wrong about that. But I just don't feel like that's a great move. The knight is doing. The knight. I don't know which squares the knight has that are like really good. I guess you have d6. That's actually the only half decent move you could make. Kind of rerouted the knight. That was on the attack of the e pawn. Usually doesn't happen. What the? What? What is that? What? Am I missing something? What does that do? It gets a pawn out. You can probably do an attack and a few moves if you want to attack the knight. Maybe. That might take too long, though. I guess it... Maybe you're trying to block some moves from the right squared bishop. I don't understand that. Hangs the pawn. It didn't push away the knight. Just the knight wasn't being attacked yet. God. Now you gotta get something to like get a fork. Of course, here's e5. E5 is a decent move. You're blocking the bishop. It's just not great. Not a great option. The queeb. I love the queeb. Obviously, CatFlank has a lead in development, but it's by barely anything. If you were him, you just probably want to meet up with a pawn on the G file. Hangs a knight. Alright, now you lose a rook. Woo, yeah, woo, yeah! The knight's still hanging. I don't think they realize that. They blundered the knight, but they're getting a rook in. They're getting a rook for a knight. So it's 6 points of material because you're gonna lose the. A frick! Come on! Come on, you donut! How are you reading it? Odd. You donut! No, you see, the knight was still being blocked. It was still being blundered. But then the king blocks. That was the only move that they had, but if you would have took the knight earlier, I feel like that would have been better. So I forgot to add the music. 1 second. Make sure to just. Why does Shankadonka have such little time right now? And why does it say they gave time? You're allowed to do that? I don't know what the hell's going on right now. You could just take the bishop and then. If they don't take. What the hell? Well, yeah, that actually works. That works pretty. Oh wait, never mind. It doesn't because it blunders. No, it's just a queen trade. That works. That works. And now you have b2. B2 is a great move. Come on! This is Harold all over again. Guess that pawn is hang. Rook c8, rook c8. But you can castle. And there's basically no saving that pawn. Basically. There is saving the pawn, just not great areas to save it. That will just result in you just losing it eventually. I mean, I understand these moves, but maybe I'm just stupid. Are you manually castling or something? You had the ability to castle. You had that ability for a while. No, I just don't want to use it. This is 100 ELO level stuff. I mean, CatFlank is pretty close. Is it like a bond cloud, maybe? Definitely not a bond cloud, because that's meant for the opening, but it's decently close to a bond cloud. Like, you're just moving your king up for no reason. CatFlank would be way better, just because get your rook out, and your king is safe because of the pawns. Now it's just more exposed. But of course, there's nothing really to attack the king with, because they sacrificed all their pieces for no reason. By sacrifice, I mean they blundered. You gotta pin the pawn. Actually, no, you don't. You don't have to pin the pawn, but you want to get an attack on the king. I feel like that could help you get an attack. Good move. Forces the knight away, but there's ways to defend it, and you're just going to result in the trade. I was CatFlank, I would just trade. Because bishops are way better than knights, in my opinion. And you're up a few pawns, you're up a rook, because they blundered everything, because they're dumb. That's actually the move I recommended. I think that's a good move. I'm not Magnus, and I'm not a good commentator. Probably I'm missing something with most of these moves, but I think that's a decent move. Take the knight. Take the knight. That should be an immediate thing. That should be the immediate move in your mind. Now that pawn, there's no way to defend that pawn on c5, but of course you have to get your bishop to safety because there's moves like c4 which might put it in danger. Force it to undevelop a little bit. Or push it into a place where it can be easily attacked. That works, actually. That move aims to attack the bishop once they push, which happens. It probably would have been better to move the h rook, because that rook is basically trapped now. To discovered attack on bishop. Your rook. Wait, no, that's a good move. I thought it was weird for. You could always trade rooks. You have a king there. If you trade rooks, you're in a completely winning position with the pawns. Probably like e6 again. Probably a decent move. I mean, obviously, CatFlank is still winning. They're 5 points of material. But if they just traded their rooks, it would be bishop versus pawns versus kings, which I still have no trust in them knowing how to checkmate. That would work, though. Especially because you have the huge pawn advantage. G2, maybe? I feel like G2 might be able to work. Gotta focus on making this fast. You're down a lot in time. Don't want that to happen. The evaluation bar, it still says white has the black has the huge advantage. Like a completely huge advantage, probably because of the material advantage and the fact that the pawns just way more pawns. You don't want to attack the c5 pawn with a pawn because then they push and then that's dangerous. I'm just thinking about moves that could happen in the future. It's a boring match. Not too much going on. He can pin the pawn. Actually, yeah, that would work. What the hell? What the hell? Pinning could work in this scenario. Then you can get into in-game where you just have a... That's also a pretty good move. Pinning would, of course, work, but, I mean, both moves are fine. They won't cause any issues later on. Guess king e6 or pawn f6 works. And then they can obviously push, so... You gotta defend the pawn. But, I mean, that's not your pawn, but okay, go off. I guess the pawn will be hanging if they attack the king. But now you have an easy check. That doesn't really solve too much. Just go to e6 with your king, protecting both pawns. You're not in any serious danger. Now, if it's you just want to maybe lock up the center, could be a good idea, but you could also attack the pawn using the h pawn. You don't want to use the f pawn. That would put you in way too much danger. Takes. I feel like you'll be fine then, but it just. I wouldn't do that. That's just me. Or you could ignore the threat, which also does work because it's just one pawn. Of course, you don't want to give them any advantage in the scenario, like giving them a pass pawn. But there's really no opportunities here. What? And just go there and you can take. No reason really guarding the pawn. I mean, you could also attack the rook if you wanted to, but then you lose a pawn, so I don't think they'll do that. Alright. I mean, they're still completely winning, but you lose that pawn. Now attack the other pawn, so then takes, and then you're still winning completely. You also have a pass pawn on the e-file, which you could push, because the king's locked in one side of the board. So, yeah, that's probably the ideal move. Push the e-pawn. Push, 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 push. Works too, I guess. Probably not the ideal move, but it works. You could do push just the e-pawn. Bishop under attack. Just push the e-pawn. Ignore the threat. Ignore the threat. It's going to take them too long to move their rook out of the way. You're going to have a pass pawn. Alright, move two, because it still defends. Now you can't push the e-pawn, because the king can go over there. He'll be able to meet you. You need to do a few king moves, which I don't have this. I don't feel like they would do. But if you did like f4, keep making like a red carpet for them, you could always. Oh, okay. You could obviously always do d8 again, locking the king on one side of the board, and then you're completely winning. Push. Push the pawn. Or d8 still. D8 still could work. Or king f3 if you want to create like a huge red. No. No. You're getting further away from the pawn. The other pawns don't matter. You're gonna win them eventually if you get a queen and a rook. It's not like you're in some severe danger because of those pawns. It was defended by the pawn, if you're wondering. refresh the page. There. Because the bishop is defended by the pawn. Oh, sorry, the board got flipped. You gotta take. You gotta take. I don't even know why they would push in this scenario. It's an idiotic move. It just hangs a pawn. You might win another pawn, but who's gonna stop the other? Who's gonna stop the other pawns? That's my question. Shouldn't take you that long. That seems like a pretty immediate move. You don't want to let the pawn get too much closer. You always have the rook on the bottom file, I guess, but that probably would work pretty well. So you could potentially ignore the threat, but if they sack a rook, b7, they could do something really slow if you just move your bishop out of the way. Push b8, I guess. Could work, but probably a lot slower. Taking a while. Maybe it's just I'll go get water. Took him long enough to do that move. They lose the bishop. They hang the bishop or something. A validation bar goes a little bit more in favor of white. Not like their white not winning, but it's saying they have a better chance of winning now. Or no, it went down. What the hell? Mate and 9 apparently. It shouldn't take you a second just to think immediately. Just take the rook. Check. Or cut him in half. Or push. I don't know. I'm not pushing. Rook d8. Push, push, push. Check, check. It says mate and 5. I'll go with the rook. I have to make a guess. Ignore the threat. Just check them. Alright. Either F2. Yeah, F2 probably. Or F3, I mean. Push the pawn, ladder mate, d8, c1, b8, a1. d8 works, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the ideal strategy is here. I just do a ladder mate. You know, you're down a lot on time, or you're low on time. You probably don't want them. I think they blundered mate somehow. So you're mating 2. Oh, I see mate. Yeah, I see it. Wrong?
Our life away. Now we're stuck here to decay.
Pause this. Alright, we're here. So, you missed the first few moves. We have a queen's pawn opening. We'll go back just to show the moves. We had a queen's pawn opening, and then we had a kind of like a Carl Khan. Just a little bit weird. Bishop development, kind of weird place. You should probably take it out to like f4, but it's not an awful move. It's probably not the best move, but it's still good because it gets the bishop off its home square. What are they cooking? Weird. Also, hopefully this thing is right. Yep. You got the timers. This is some weird chess. What are they? No development yet for Chonkadonka. Probably not the worst move, but definitely not good either. And now, just a free pawn we can take. Some goofy stuff. Now, I'm guessing the move that will be played would be e7. Alright, no. This is, Black needs to get some of their pieces out. The knight's the only piece that's somewhat developed, and it's still not incredibly developed. So, probably should develop it pretty soon. Probably should develop the bishop, get your pawn out. I expect e6 here. e6 is probably the best move. Kicks out the knight. And you can develop your bishop now. There's not really many squares for it to go, but it has a few. It has c4, it has or d6, then you can develop the bishop on b7 and get it lined up on a good diagonal. Taking a while to think. It's good. They do have check on... They did have check on d6. Because then you can trade a bishop for a knight, which, in me, personally, that's a better trade for white. But that's just me. That move loses a lot of the advantage that white had. Reasons behind it? don't really see him currently, but it's just not a good development move. Now they can get the bishop out, probably. Or they can get the knight out and attack that pawn, which I wouldn't do, just because they can attack it back. Or they could... No, that wouldn't work. So yeah, just getting out the bishop's probably the best idea. Alright. The knight's just... How many moves has the knight had? It's had 3 moves. This one knight has had 3 moves. Not the greatest, but it's not going to kill you. The advantage dropped down again. At least you're developing the bishop off its home square, though. Not really a threat to that move. The queen protects the c2 square, and your bishop is blocked by its own pawn, so it can't go there. Oh no, you can just see the difference between the two opponents. Right now, black is moving that one knight and doesn't have any other development. White has some weird pawn structure, but it's not awful. And also, the knight blocks bishop's diagonal and blocks its pawn from moving forward. This pawn on d4 can be targeted by many pieces, and it can just be taken. There probably was a move earlier where it could have been taken, but I don't know. Stalin suggested... Shut up. I noticed it was a blunder. And... Alright. Now, not just hang the piece. Not a good move. Now, I imagine h7 is going to be played for absolutely 0 Right, so traded off their only active piece for a pawn, and they have no other development, and they lost a pawn. They're down extremely. It's not completely over. There's still blunders that can be made, but now you have to play really precise, and you can't trade at all, because now if you trade, you're going to lose. You just need to get some pieces off their home square. White can castle, if he wanted to. It's not 100% needed. Now that move, it's all right. Because if you just, that was there. But now you can't take. That is a move. Taking the d4 pawn and pushing the knight away, probably the best move. That forces the rook away. Danger levels. You're checking a piece. But now 2 pieces are hanging. So you can't save both of them. And if you just go takes, if you take on c8, then they can take with the rook. Taking with the queen's a mistake. And you gain a tempo. And you can take that knight next play. See, that was a good sequence of moves. That's a move. Now you just take the knight. You probably should have... No, that's good. It's probably the only move you had. So... You had a knight that was hanging. They weren't threatening anything. You could have took. But that's what they decided not to, so... They didn't take the knight with the queen, because then they'd do a queen trade. And you don't want that because you're down in material. You want to gain a tempo on the queen. And they would have won a piece for a pawn. Alright, now you take with check. That is the key move here. You take with check. It is a free piece, and you need to take it with check. Now, the question is, will they see it? May and 7 just popped up on the board. You took the knight, but at the same time, you lost your queen, so don't think that was an equal trade. Mate and 4. That was the best move. Now, if there's c7, I'm pretty sure c1's going to be played. And I have a feeling that's probably the best move. But, yeah, because after c7, you have moves out the way, check. I don't know. It's easier to see when you're playing. Mate and 4, so I imagine b1. Fine. You can either take the rook or continue trying to check. Both of them are fine. Even though you had a quicker way to win, not an issue. Now here you can take the check. You can take both pieces with check. So here, you can take the rook. And you can bring out your other rook, or you can cut the king off and then bring your other rook, which is slower. There's definitely a better way to win. But that is a way you can win the game pretty easily. Not the best move, but... Alright. Now you can take the pawn, or you can cut the king off. Pushing you if they push the pawn on g3, which is one of their only moves, then you take with the pawn, you don't take with the queen. Alright. It doesn't really matter because the game's still over, but just you can keep pushing that pawn and you're just gonna eventually win. There is faster ways to win, but I don't think it matters too much. Hopefully he doesn't get stalemated. I mean, then they would still lose because they're down. But oh. Alright, I have complete respect for them now. They promoted to a bishop. Complete and utter respect. Now, d5 would just be the funny move. I don't care if it's not the fastest way to checkmate bishops. After takes, you have probably... There is a faster way to mate, of course. You have probably e4, maybe. Well, I mean, all they needed was a draw, so I guess that's alright.